The NASCAR Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Bet $100 and get $100 at WynnBET.com or download the WynnBET app and start winning today. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Final Four Watch Party. That's April 1st at 7:30 p.m. The SGP will be at the Ice House in Los Angeles, so come hang out with the crew. All the info right now at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Ice House.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
To the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. His shiny face is Cody Zeeb. I am Rod Villagomez. We're working our way backwards through the weekend. I can't even speak at this time of the day, I guess. I don't know. It's noon.
It's hard to talk backwards, Rod.
We're working our way backwards through the weekend. Again, if you have not listened to yesterday's show, go back and do that. We are breaking down the Cup Series race, the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix at the COTA Circuit of the Americas track. It is in Austin, Texas. It is a road course, but today we're going to do Xfinity. Xfinity odds are plentiful right now on most books, so we're going to go ahead and break that down for you. Truck's still a little slow on the uptake, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, well, we were recording last night, and the winter odds came out. I dropped a little nugget in there from that, and then it's been just kind of waiting for the rest of it to drop. There's not even head-to-heads or anything at this point, so I don't know what the deal is over there.
The looming threat of Rod and Cody's book is just making we're making a case for it right now as we speak. So anyways, it is road racing. It is the Pit Boss 250. It is, again, Austin, Texas, and the Circuit of the Americas track. We're in for it. All three series are in action. This is the Xfinity episode. We'll break down some Xfinity bets for you. A lot of stuff to talk about, especially with the field and who's in it, who's making special appearances in it, and what we expect to see from the racing. But Cody, as always, I know you've got some nuggets for us today to get this show going.
Yeah, one really big piece of news actually that just came out not very long ago here. Chevrolet announced that they're no longer going to produce the Chevy Camaro after the 2024 year. So there will be a 2024 Chevy Camaro, but not a 2025 Chevy Camaro. So obviously that opens up questions immediately about what is Chevy going to drive in NASCAR. Obviously they use the Camaro body the Camaro body right now. And there is a legit difference in, if you go from the Camry to the Toyota, the Mustang with Ford, and now you've got the Camaro with Chevy, they are all different and they are manufacturer specific. Chevy's been through a lot of different cars over the years. I think we had the Impala for a little while. We had the Monte Carlo, obviously, back in the day. And they've been through different iterations. I don't pay that much attention to cars. Maybe I should more, I guess, but I don't even know what cars they're still producing or what maybe they're going to continue to produce, or if they're going to produce something else. I don't know. Do they still make the Corvette, Rod? I'll be honest. I don't know. Sorry if you're a car guy. I'm not a car guy. I just have my old truck that I drive, and I'm not looking to buy a new car. So I don't know. It's going to obviously open up questions, but so Bob Pockrass already tweeted they will be allowed to use the Camaro in 2024 if they choose to do so, since it'll still be in production. So this will be a little while out. You would look at maybe 2025 is when they look to go to the next iteration. I know that, I mean, I think with Ford, I think the Mustang is the only car they still produce. I don't think they've got, I think everything else is SUVs and trucks. And with everything kind of going to the hybrid, the electric type, maybe this kind of pushes that conversation in NASCAR a little quicker. It'll be interesting. I mean, Chevy's kind of been the rock of all rocks. Like it's by far the most successful manufacturer in NASCAR history. So where Chevy goes, NASCAR might follow because they're kind of an important piece. Obviously, still have some of the better teams today and the strongest cars, it would seem. So it'll be interesting to follow that. But that just kind of came out this afternoon.
I would like to see that. I remember Chevy bought Geo and started making the Chevy Metro. Let's get the Chevy Metro bodies out there, or we start to see, I don't know, the Equinox frames out there. I'd like to see NASCAR turn SUV.
SUV. I think there's actually been like SUV conversations before, as in like starting a series that had, just because of the popularity of SUVs. Obviously, we have the truck series, right? So why not add the SUV series? I don't think that ever went anywhere. I feel like those might be more prone to like rolling over and stuff. They're not. the arrow is a little different on those, but
I feel like it's the natural progression of life, right? You start with the Corvette,
right.
Then you go to the 4-door when you're just starting, and then of course you full on go to the
SUV.
SUV.
You got a couple kids, all that. It's
right?
This family car, right? So there you go.
So let's make NASCAR kind of a part of that. No, honestly, I think just have to be the Corvette at this point, because you're right. I don't know that there's any other.
Yeah. Or if they're gonna, if they come up with some other type of car they're gonna produce, or who knows? I don't know. Obviously they've got some time, but it'll be interesting to kind of watch that because it does massively affect. I mean, they can't run the Camaro if they don't produce the Camaro anymore. That's not how it works. So it'll be interesting to follow that saga and see where that leads and what changes that could mean for NASCAR.
I did own a Chevy Sprint back in the day. Let's bring that body type back. Let's make it the Chevy Sprint in NASCAR. I'm sure people would love that. That's a sexy car right there.
Yeah, that's
got all the chicks.
Yeah, I'm buying that one.
No. I'm gonna go ahead and say no, it did not. All right. Well, Chevy, we'll miss you, Camaro. That will be interesting. That's kind of a big.
And again, yeah, they got time, so I'm sure that Chevy will announce in the near future. They can start preparing for that new car already, or whatever the switch may be. But that'll be interesting to watch that unfold.
I agree. Anything else, or that's
as far as news goes, that's about it. Interesting entry list this week. There's a lot of guys swapping series over into the Xfinity Series, so wanted to touch on that real quick. Carson Hocevar going to come up from the Truck Series, run the 07 car for Bobby Dotter. You go, Eric Almirola is going to be in the 08 car, so very interesting, right? Because Carson Hocevar is in the 07 car for Bobby Dotter, and it's a Chevrolet. Eric Almirola is in the 08 car for Bobby Dotter, and that's a Ford. So Bobby Dotter is going to have both manufacturers, which you're allowed to do. And we see some of these guys change manufacturers depending on the race. Like, they don't have any support from the manufacturer. Now the Eric Almirola car, I would imagine, will be prepared by Stuart Haas. They did that last year with Custer when he was in the 07. So I'm sure that he will. But then going down the list, AJ Allmendinger's in that all-star car for Kaulig, the number 10. Hendrick has entered their Xfinity car, the number 17, with William Byron. And then going down through the list, I think there was Miguel Paludo is going to be in the 88 car, an extra JRM car. So JRM will have the 5 cars. Again, allowed to do that in the Xfinity Series. So we're going to see that a few times this season. And then I thought, no, Ross Chastain's in the trucks, right? Not the Cup.
Yeah,
so.
he's doing the trucks.
Yep. So I think that's it on as far as this goes. But Ty Gibbs in the 19 as well. He's the other one. So obviously kind of a reunion of some of these guys, right? Allmendinger, Gibbs coming back down after the two of them basically dominated all the road courses in Xfinity Series last season. So good chance we're going to be talking about those guys during this episode.
Indeed. A couple of guys also. There's a couple of other folks that are like Anthony Alfredo will be out there again.
Yeah, I think he's running full time though, isn't he?
Is he running full time again?
I think he's full time in that 78 now.
He's just back in the back.
How about that 74 car, Rod? Do you want to pronounce that name?
Do I want to Baltazar Leguizamon?
Yeah, sure. That's probably pretty close.
Yeah. Hey, listen. If nothing else, I attempted it.
Sage Karam is in the 44 car. He's an IndyCar guy, so that's notable. I don't know that there's anyone else that's. Connor Mosak is in the 26 car. I think he does some IndyCar, doesn't he? Maybe something like that. But I'm not too worried. I don't think we'll be talking much about those guys. I don't think.
Not necessarily. Yeah. In fact, it's some of those fringe guys, especially with what we were talking about. If you haven't listened to the Cup Show, go listen to the Cup Show. Obviously, one of the biggest things for this race is going to be the fact that there are no cautions thrown for the stage breaks. This is going to be a 48 lap course, 48 laps race on this 3.410 mile course. It is an F1 sanctioned course. F1 does run on this. Obviously, that means that the dynamics of this racetrack are really more suited toward the open wheel cars than the stock cars. And I think that's where the biggest distinction in all of this lies, is that NASCAR didn't get there first. It was F1 first, and then NASCAR started to squat on that territory. So the racing style in F1 is completely different than NASCAR. Cody talked about it yesterday, where the bodies are heavier, the bumping and banging happens. You touch wheels in F1 and parts are flying all over.
Day's over.
Yeah, your day's over, the guy's day's over, anybody else that it hits day's over. But obviously these cars are a lot more suited to the beating and banging. So you're going to see a lot of leaning on them. You're going to see a lot of guys kind of trying to nudge a little bit harder to try to get them out of the way. So yeah, it's just going to be a crazy race. You talk about what they've only been here twice. Have they in the whole of NASCAR? And then last year here, it was AJ Allmendinger who walked away with the win over Austin Hill by 2 seconds. Only 4 cautions for 8 laps, 8 total lead changes in the race at COTA last year. And then in 2021, the first race here for that, Kyle Busch led 35 of the 46 laps to win over AJ Allmendinger. There was only 4 cautions for 7 laps in that. The margin of victory, 11 seconds. 6 lead changes in the race.
Yeah, and so to keep in mind, and we talked about this yesterday on the Cup Show. If you haven't listened to that, obviously go back and listen. But if you just stumbled across this episode or something, welcome. And it is no stage cautions at the end of these stages. They will still count the stages. You cross the line, the flag will wave, you get the points, but they will not throw a caution. The race will just continue. Like you just said, only 4 cautions in these couple last races here. That means 2 of those were for stages, only 2 for incidents. So that is going to stretch this field out quickly, and it's going to give guys like AJ Allmendinger, like Ty Gibbs maybe, the opportunity to turn into Max Verstappen and just fucking destroy this field. And honestly, I think that I know that a majority of my bets this weekend are based on that alone. Like you just said, Allmendinger won by, last season was 2 seconds, but the season before was 11 seconds or something, like an 11-second lead. And that's with that built-in stage 2 caution. If you don't get that late caution, now again, something could happen late in the race. We could end up in overtime. 1 overtime turns into 8 overtimes on road courses half the time because there is all the chaos. But these guys are going to get so spread out, and they're going to get so apart from each other and everything. And if it's a smooth, clean race, it's going to go quick. The laps are going to tick away. You're going to have some pit strategies and stuff. But these guys who are very, very good road course races, this is going to play much more into their hand because they'll possibly just be able to run away with this. And they don't have to give up the 11-second lead at the end of stage 1 because the race doesn't stop. It just keeps going. So by the stage 2, it could be up to 22 seconds. And if we never get any cautions, they just continue to run away with it. So keep that in mind when you're placing your bets, when you're making your DFS lineups this weekend. That's going to be very, very important. And I think going to play a huge factor into how these road course races go. Again, you might get some unplanned cautions. And again, not knowing where those are going to be, you can't plan things out. So you might catch somebody in a bad cycle. You might have pitted just in time to catch it. All these things that could go into it that, give some long shots still a chance. And we're going to talk about those as well. But I think it's going to be a lot more straightforward where the cream of the crop is going to rise to the top and just kind of run away with it.
Yeah. Also, keep an eye out on the weather. I did see some clouds. We didn't talk about it yesterday, but I did check the weather in Austin. Obviously, a couple of years ago, there was that Wet and Wild show that happened
The
all week.
monsoon.
Oh my God, that thing was insane. You want to talk about atmospheric river? We're experiencing that in California. That was an atmospheric ocean up there, dumped on all the racers. So obviously, rain tires are a thing nowadays. I don't know that we're going to need them, but keep an eye out. They may make an appearance if the weather does turn south. Like I said, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything on Sunday, and it looks like it'll just be cloudy. But if we know Mother Nature lately, yeah, you don't know what to predict. So just keep an eye out for that. We saw what happened last week with rain being an issue in qualifying. So
yeah, it does look like Friday potentially get some rain in the morning. We'll see. And I know there's some practice sessions and stuff lined up Friday. So that could affect those. If they're practicing in the rain and they race in the dry, it's going to be totally different. So it will be something to keep an eye on all weekend. Saturday and Sunday for now, knock on wood, look clear. Saturday's a doubleheader again with the trucks and Xfinity, but keep an eye on it because obviously if it does shift, they will. They're not afraid to race in a lot of rain here.
They are not at all. Keep an eye on the Discord. We'll keep you posted on that. Cody, what say we get to some bets, shall we?
Let's do it. I'm ready to go.
All right, we're going to lay out bets in the next stage. We're going to take a break, though, and tell you about WynnBET. WynnBET's the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WynnBET's now active in Massachusetts and a ton of other states. Be on the lookout for the WynnBET Win Hour each Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. During that WynnBET Win Hour, marquee games of the weeks will have better odds on WynnBET, giving you a larger payout opportunity. And March Madness is here. So many ways to bet on the big dance. Sign up today. You're going to get a special offer. Bet $100. Get $100, limited to state availability. And of course, for our DGens only, if you hit the long shot parlay of the week, so excited about this, you're going to get a $1,000 free credit. So much to choose from, and all you got to do is head over to wynnbet.com or download the WynnBET app. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older. Present. The scare play through WynnBET is available. If you or someone who has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. The SGP guys are going to be hosting a Final Four watch party at the historic Ice House in Pasadena, California. It's happening Saturday, April the 1st at 7:30 p.m. Get all the details right now at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/icehouse. I don't have to ask this because I know you already want to hang with Sean and Ryan at the Stadium Swim and watch the biggest golf tournament in the world. Well, you can do that and win a 3-night stay at Circle Las Vegas to hang with them. The contest is completely free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/golf party. And if you didn't win the contest, if you don't win the contest, you can still get a discount on a room using the promo code SGP15. I don't know what you're doing Masters weekend, but we may need to go book our rooms to get that happening.
I wonder if the company will pay for that, but
but
you know,
write it off, right?
Right, there you go. No, yeah, that sounds like a good time. Man, I wish I was. This is the time I wish I was out on the West Coast, closer to you guys. That'd be a pretty fun experience to have. So if you're in that area, or if you're planning to go out there, make that happen, because that'd be a good time. Those guys look like a lot of fun to hang out with. I know. I watched the St. Patty's Day show live that night. They were hammered, and it was hilarious, and it looked like they'd had a pretty good time that day just watching some hoops.
Look, having set foot in the mothership, I absolutely love that place. That studio is pristine. Like, that whole place just is a place you want to work at. So yeah, I can understand why Sean and Ryan are happy people all the time. Speaking of happy people, we want you to be happy, and we want you to cash some bets and cash some tickets this week. So let's get you loaded up. Let's get your betting card looking good and squared away for this. What's the race name again? It's Pit Boss 250 from the Coda racetrack in Austin, Texas. Cody,
that's one of those perfect sponsor names, the Pit Boss. I like it. It's good. Anyways,
it's nice, simple.
We talked yesterday, top 5s, top 10s in the Cup Series. Odds weren't super great. It was kind of, we found a few things, but not as good as we normally get, maybe. Not the case in Xfinity. They are sleeping on Sammy Smith. Rod, you can get him at the top 5 for plus 400. Now, this is a loaded field. I will give you that. There's a lot of good drivers in here that can do well. But if you go back, he was not full-time in Xfinity last season, but made a few starts in that Joe Gibbs car. He finished third place at Watkins Glen. And then his other road course start was Road America. He was running in the top 5 with 5 laps to go, had a mechanical issue that forced him out of the race. And so the result was not there. But you're telling me that within the last 5 laps of both road courses he ran in his only 2 Xfinity starts on road courses, he was inside the top 5. And now you're going to give me odds on him at plus 400. Something doesn't equate there. We've seen him obviously win a couple of weeks ago already. So he started the season strong. That JGR's got speed in those Xfinity cars. We've talked about Toyota struggling in the Cup Series. Not the case in Xfinity. John Nemechek has been really fast. Sammy Smith has been really fast. And so even though you're going to have an Allmendinger in this race, a William Byron, a Ty Gibbs, and there's some other good guys that are going to be up there. Austin Hill's going to look good. Some other guys I expect to be up there fighting for this. Sammy Smith had a top 5 at plus 400 when he's basically 2 for 2 if you don't count his mechanical issue at the end where he would have finished in the top 5 at plus 400. Seems like they're big time sleeping on him, especially with the way we started this season and talked about it a little bit early in the season. We weren't quite sure if we could trust him enough, and he's proved that already, that you can trust him. He can complete these. He's very young, but he's very good, knows what he's doing. And so this one is a steal, in my opinion. I absolutely love this bet at plus 400.
I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to besmirch the name of Sammy Smith any longer. I will definitely kiss your ass on this one because I do believe that my time hating on Sammy Smith has come to an end. And again, I mean, he can't have a beer yet, so I can't have a beer with him. But maybe we can share I don't know,
a nice root beer.
A nice root beer. I'll have a Not Your Father's. He can have just a regular root beer. I'll buy him an IBC. I'll spring for the bottle for Sammy Smith. But yes, I definitely think this is highly doable for him. I'm just, like I said, done hating on him. You want to talk about value? Well, I found a doozy of a value, and this is Justin Allgaier as a top 3 car. They have this at 6-1. Unbelievable. I know that, Justin Allgaier has had 2 tough weeks lately, and it hasn't necessarily been the greatest for him over the last couple of weeks. But here, last season on this track was not good for him either. But he did start in 9th place. He did finish 33rd. Just a not good race for him altogether. But in 2021, he started 9th. Guess where he finished? 3rd place. I just think he can get this done again. I know, like you said, this is an absolutely packed field, but Justin Allgaier has proven that he can run with these Cup guys. He's done it before in the Cup Series itself. So he's not one that can't do it. Look at his road course history. The Charlotte road course, he's been in 5 races. He's got 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Daytona road course, 2 entries there with 1 top 10 finish. Indy Grand Prix, he's got 3 starts. He's got 1 top 5, 2 top 10s in that as well. Watkins Glen, 11 starts, 4 top 5s, 7 top 10s. He is good on road courses. He can continue to get things done. Like I said, it hasn't been a good start or wasn't a good last couple of weeks for him in Phoenix and Atlanta. But before that, 3rd at Daytona, 3rd at Fontana, 2nd at Las Vegas. That is a fantastic track record. Again, the 2 times that he didn't finish the race, he crashed out. He started 2nd in Phoenix.
Got wrecked by his teammate both times.
Got wrecked by his teammate both times. So if he can stay away from any Junior Motorsports cars, I feel like there's no reason why he can't finish inside the top 3 in this race. And at 6-1, that's great value right now.
Yeah, I like this one. There's a lot of value there. Again, we talked about it coming into the season. He should be one of the better drivers in this field. He has a real shot at getting his first championship, I think. Things started out great, right? Couple of top finishes. The last 2 races haven't gone well, despite running well in both those races. Obviously was wrecked by his teammates in both of them. And so he seemed to have had the best success at JRM with all the changes, kind of a rough start for guys like Brandon Jones. Sam Mayer's been up and down, same with Josh Berry. But he's a guy you can trust, a veteran here. Yes, it is a loaded field, and so, you've got a couple of guys ahead, but it doesn't always go in their favor, right? Things happen. We saw it last season with William Byron and Ty Gibbs, right? Watkins Glen, they battled it out. One of the two of those guys was winning that race. They were the best two cars. I think they finished 24th and 25th because they wrecked themselves late, something like that. You want a guy like Justin Allgaier who's going to be running with a solid day. Probably not going to be the best car, probably not going to dominate the race, but he'll have himself in position there. If you get the late race chaos, if you get whatever, somebody has a problem, mechanical problem like Sammy Smith had running up there, and Allgaier could sneak in and grab that top three. So I like that one at 6-1. Again, some good value on these positional bets, I think, so far.
I agree.
Next up for me, I'm going to take another positional bet. My guy, Parker Kilgerman. Again, I just love betting on this guy. He has made me some money over the years. I can't stop. They continue to give us good odds. So I'm going to take him at a top 5 at plus 300. And I'm also going to take him as the Group B winner. And in that group, he's going against Sam Mayer, Josh Berry, Sammy Smith, Daniel Hemrick, and Kaz Gralla. Sam Mayer, again, it's been up and down to start the season for him. Kind of still, I think there's a lot of hope and promise there. But some of these JRM cars have struggled. So I think that at plus 340, I like Kilgerman out of this group. Josh Berry, same thing, basically. They've struggled a little bit. Berry can get it done. He's got some really good road course finishes, so wouldn't be surprised. But I also, we'll get to this in a little bit, but I think Kilgerman can be up there competing for the win in this car. Then you go down to Sammy Smith. Obviously, I've made the case for him as well. I think he can be a top 5 car. So this isn't a give me group by any means. But for where the value's at, Daniel Hemrick, probably looking about 12th place. That's where he'll be. And then Kaz Gralla, I don't know why he's in this group with these guys. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Looking back at his road course history is not great. So I know you're going to contend against him in a few as well. So I may actually agree with you on this one. But I think that plus 340 for this group, I think that with the question marks around the JRM guys like Mayer, like Barry, how their season has started, Sammy Smith is the one that scares me the most because I'm on him as well. But I think Parker Kilgerman, I mean, we've seen speed. That 48 car, they're not just there to race and compete and maybe we score a top 10. Like, they are a good car, and they have shown up with the speed. Kilgerman has showed up. I mean, should have won that race last week at Atlanta. Thank you, Daniel Hemrick, you dick. But no, and then you go back last year, Kilgerman finished 12th here at Coda, and he was in the Emmerling Gase number 35 car. That is a horrible car that doesn't have a ton of speed. Still managed to get a 12th place finish there. With that, his other start last season was at Indy. He only completed like 11 laps, got taken out early in that one. But you go back to last season in the Truck Series, he won the road course race at Mid-Ohio. And then 2021 in the trucks, he had a 13th place at Coda as well in a not great truck. And then 5th place at Watkins Glen in that 75 truck again. So Kilgerman is a guy who is a good road course racer, can get it done. I mean, we saw him in that truck race last season at Mid-Ohio. He outdueled Zane Smith, who's one of the best driver, ended up being the champion in the Truck Series. And so love Kilgerman this week. So that top 5 rather at plus 300, and then the Group B winner for Kilgerman at plus 340.
All right, we have Kilgerman ourselves into another Kilgerman bet. And listen, when they hit, and that's the good thing about it. I'm obviously gonna maybe kind of get against you on that Group B one, only because I've got a guy that I think is going to be well. But I mean, look, it doesn't matter. Actually, it doesn't matter where he finishes. I guess he can finish outside of the
12th.
Yeah, he can finish 12th. That's fine, as long as everybody else finishes before. All right, I'm gonna go back to Moffitt. I mean, again, when you bet, like, I know probably folks that aren't necessarily all that familiar with NASCAR betting and like, why do they keep going back to these folks? Well, 2 reasons. One, books don't really give you a lot of creative ways to do a lot of things. They normally throw the same names up each and every week, and so you just got to find a creative way to do it. So last time we had a Moffitt head-to-head, which we cashed. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and toss out Moffitt as a top 5 car. Sounds kind of crazy. I understand, because obviously his 7th place finish in Atlanta last week was kind of like I'm not the 7th place finish. I'm looking at the wrong tab. God damn, Rod.
He was 7th here at Coda last year.
He was 7th here at Coda last year. That's why I was looking. He was 7th here at Coda last year and 12th the year before. So that's not too far outside of the top 5. And basically a 7th place finish at Coda is not bad for a guy that's not necessarily one of these big name guys, right? He's not even running top tier equipment, and he still finished inside the top 10. So I'm definitely encouraged by that. Yes, here's where I contradict myself. The numbers for him this season haven't been fantastic. 29th at Daytona, 9th at Fontana, 22nd at Las Vegas. But here's where I'm encouraged, right? He had that 13th place run at Phoenix and looked solid in doing so. So I'm really hopeful that will carry through and lead to another good finish for him as well. So I'm hoping among all hopes that we get a good run out of Moffitt and a top 5 finish. Like I said, in this track, he's had a 12th place and a 7th place finish. And I mean, I know we talk a lot about road course history altogether and trying to piece together a guy's road course history, but Moffitt doesn't necessarily have all that much. He's got 2 starts at Austin, 2 starts at the Charlotte road course where he doesn't have anything to show for it. No top 10s, one start at the Daytona road course, 3 starts at the Indy GP, 1 at Watkins Glen. So not an extensive history here, but to come out and do 7th and be a 7th place car at the end of a race like last season's race, I'm going to give it to him. And I think he can do it again. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. And this is at 10-1. So I love the value here if he does sneak up a couple of more spots from where he was the last time he was out here.
Yeah, at 10-1, I think you're getting good value here. Is Moffitt going to just run 5th place all day? No, he's not. But this is for building in for that chaos. We get that late race caution. Somebody loses a bumper. There's a piece of cardboard on the track. Somebody gets stuck in a gravel trap and can't come out. We get that late caution. Chaos ensues. Guys start wrecking each other. Brett Moffitt slips through and ends up with a 5th place finish. That's what this type of bet is building for. And he's shown this season to have a little bit of speed. He's had a couple of good runs so far, and he's a guy that's been around for a while. So even though he doesn't have a ton of starts, he was like 2017 Cup Series Rookie of the Year or something we talked about before. He's been around. He's had some chances, some different rides. So with that veteran awareness and everything, I think he could survive some chaos if that happens. And it's a nice little backup plan to have if the rest of your stuff doesn't go your way and you build in for that chaos somewhere. And if he finished 7th last year, it only needs to get 2 more spots. And at 10-1, I think you can definitely make a case for that.
Crossing my fingers.
Next up for me, I'm going to stick with the Joe Gibbs Racing train. And I'm surprised by this line, Rod. I don't understand this completely. John Hunter Nemechek is paired up with Sheldon Creed, and he's at plus 100. I don't know why. I'm not going to ask. I don't care because I will take it. To me, again, we've talked about Sheldon Creed till we're blue in the face. Love the guy. He's our favorite Canadian that's from California, but he cannot finish races, and that's just the constant theme with him, and we continue to see it week in and week out. Every once in a while, he'll grab a decent finish, and you're like, yes, and then he comes out next week, and it's just bad finishes again. And so you go back and look, John Hunter Nemechek only did 1 Xfinity race last season, and that was at Road America. He finished 18th. I believe he was, I don't have it written down, but I think he was in the Sam Hunt car for that one. So again, we talked about those were not as good as the Joe Gibbs cars. But if you go back to the Truck Series last season, 2nd place at Coda, 8th at Sonoma, and then in 2021 in the trucks, 3rd place at the Daytona road course, 12th at Coda, 2nd at Watkins Glen. Those are good enough and consistent enough finishes for me that I got to take him over Sheldon Creed. Now you go back and you'll say, well, Sheldon Creed finished 10th in this race last season. Well, I just told you not to conflict myself, but sometimes he can get good finishes. It's the fact that you can't rely on him to give you that good finish like a Kevin Harvick, like a Riley Herbst, where we just know, like a Daniel Hemrick in 12th, we know he's going to be there every week. Sheldon Creed, he'll have flashes. It'll look like the best car, and then something always goes wrong, always gets in his way. So 10th at Coda, but then he was 32nd at Portland, 27th at Road America, 23rd at Indy Roval, jumped up and got 8th at Watkins Glen, another good run, and then back to 16th again at the Charlotte Roval. So it's again, inconsistent finishes. I mean, nothing that impressive about his Xfinity Series starts on the road courses last season, and 8th and a 10th. Those are decent finishes, but not that great. I didn't look at those races, but my guess would be some late caution flag. I know the Watkins Glen when he finished 8th, that we had the Gibbs and Byron deal where they battle and out win. They end up wrecking each other. I think there might have been a caution, put you in overtime there. And so who knows how much he got at the end or whatever there. But again, John Hunter Nemechek, I just talked about it with Sammy Smith. Those Gibbs Toyotas have had speed. They've looked fast. They've looked good. I'm going to keep riding that wave and take John Hunter here over Sheldon Creed.
Again, it's one of the guys I want to have a beer with. And you're right. I mean, my handicap begins and ends with the fact that Sheldon Creed has burned us so many times, and just, he's so good, and then something happens.
And like his to win odds too. Like it used to be, you could get Sheldon Creed at 25-1, and like I was just auto betting that every week because he can win. He can. Like he shows these flashes, and if he can put it together, but now he's only 14-1, and it's like, would I be surprised if he comes out and wins a race? No, because I know he can do it, and he showed how fast he is. We know how fast those RCR cars are. Look what Austin Hill's done to start the season. It's just he cannot consistently finish races, and so I'm going to consistently bet against him until he gets consistent on the consistency.
He's consistently inconsistent, and that's exactly what we love about our man there. Again, I want him to do more for us.
And this is like me betting on Ty Gibbs in the Cup Series yesterday. Like, I don't love to do it, but sometimes you just got to do what makes sense. And at plus money too. That's the thing. Like if this was minus 165 or something, then it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, this could go either way. That's probably juiced up appropriate, but at plus 100 on the John Hunter side of things, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, me either. All right. So this one, you're actually going to agree with me on this one, and I kind of like it.
The only time you ever get me to bet on Daniel Hemrick.
Yay, buddy. That was my goal this week, to find a way for Cody to not be able to poke a hole in my Daniel Hemrick bet. And this is going to be Hemrick over Kaz Grala. I don't know why this is even a bet. I don't know why this is a matchup, but please go hammer this one now before they take it down and realize what they've done wrong. And listen, I understand this one's juiced at minus 125 on the Hemrick side of it. So obviously the books at least know that this is going to be a Daniel Hemrick bet to win, but they first of all haven't juiced it up a ton. And second of all, they're offering it in the first place. So I'm just going to start by saying this season alone, right? Kaz Grala's average finishing position is 27.4. His average start is 28 or 24.8 rather. He's got no wins, no top fives, no top 10s. His best finish is 13th. He has finished 32nd, 23rd, 34th, 35th, crashed out of 2 races. Cody's favorite driver and the guy he's going to go buy a banner for, Daniel Hemrick.
12th, 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 and 12th.
Close.
Exactly, because he's right there every week.
36th, 12th, 10th, 10th, 2nd. Average finishing position of 14th place. So, I mean, even if we were just looking at this season's stats alone, I would tell you that this is a good bet just because Kaz Grala is not running all that well. And he does not have a ton of history on road courses. And in fact, the one that he does kind of have good, or at least some track record on, the Charlotte Motor Speedway, he's made 3 starts. He got an 8th place finish, which is highly impressive. But then he wrecked out of the one in 2022. And then in the 2021, a suspension problem sidelined him as well. So Kaz Grala, again, does not have the track history as an Xfinity driver. He's made 3 starts on the Charlotte Roval, like I said, with 1 top 10 finish. He's had Indy, 1 start at Indy, no top 10s there. 2 starts at Watkins Glen. He actually has a top 5 at Watkins Glen, which is kind of impressive.
The same race that we just talked about with Sheldon Creed last year, where it was chaotic at the end.
Exactly. So he snuck his way up there.
Yep.
It can happen, but Daniel Hemrick, obviously a much better driver in and of himself. Even if it's a 12th place finish at Circuit of the Americas, he had a 29th and a 25th place finish on this course. But again, this season he's running a lot better. I feel like it's going to at least give him an edge to beat Kaz Grala, who like I said, is not necessarily the best this season either. So Hemrick's been running well. He's been running in the front. I see that happening at least middle of the pack. If he finishes 12th, all Kaz Grala has to do is finish 13th, and we cash this bet.
That's the thing. All he has to do is finish 12th, and you can count on him to do that. It's not, I mean, I don't love this. I'm probably not going to bet this one, but yeah, you go back and you look at Kaz. I mean, last season, he 32nd in Indy Road Course, 35th at the Charlotte Road Course. He did have that 5th at Watkins Glen. Again, that was kind of a crazy race, but you go back to 2020, he had to start at Road America 18th. So just nothing too impressive about what he's done on the road courses. And with Daniel Hemrick, he's not going to win the race. No, his teammate might, because the Kaulig cars are better. And Grala is in a little bit of a better car than he's been in the past. He's with the Sam Hunt cars, but just talked about that with John Hunter Nemechek as well. Like, you could tell the difference when John Hunter Nemechek, a great driver, was in the Sam Hunt cars and when he was in the Joe Gibbs cars, and it was night and day. And so I don't expect much from Grala at all. So I will probably stay away from this, mostly because I have a policy against betting on Daniel Hemrick. But I won't argue with you or laugh at you when you pick Hemrick for this bet.
It's all I ask. All I ask.
Next up, a head-to-head, and this is one we agree on. I know we had our differences yesterday, but this one, again, makes no sense. Austin Hill over Cole Custer, plus 100. We're both in agreement on the Hill side of things. You go back and you look last season, Hill finished second here. Finished third at Portland, fourth at Road America, ninth at the Indy Road Course. Ended the season on a bit of a slide, 30th at Watkins Glen again. We talked about that race a minute ago, and 29th at the Roval. So 2 bad finishes to end it, but those first 4, second, third, fourth, and ninth at those first 4 road courses, very good runs from him. Very underrated road course racer. I was hoping the books would sleep on him a little bit more this week, but after winning 3 of the first 5 races, he's still 10-1. I thought long and hard about it. I couldn't, with some of the other guys in this field and some of the other prices, I just couldn't pull the trigger. But Austin Hill, I mean, he showed us so far this season on super speedways, on 2-mile tracks, on half-mile or whatever, mile tracks, like everywhere in between. He's been good. He's had a chance to win each and every week. He's won 3 of the first 5, and you get the consistency from him. Cole Custer, he has been 0 for 5 beating Riley Herbst this season, his teammate. And I mean, so far, and maybe this changes, but I was so big on Custer. I was hoping they would give us like a 8-win line so I could bet the over on him to win races this season. I thought he was just going to dominate, and he sucked to open the season, honestly. I mean, he won the first 2 stages at Auto Club, but other than that, he's not looked great. He's got no top 5 finishes. The 9th place at Daytona Super Speedway is the best finish he's got. He had 1 road course top 5 finish in the 3 road course starts he made in Xfinity last season. And you go back to when he was an Xfinity regular in 2019, 7th, 8th, 10th at the 3 road course they had that season. Nothing that impressive. They were okay runs, consistent, and you expect him to have a pretty decent car being in a Stewart-Haas car. But as disappointing as he's been to start this season, all the momentum that Hill has, and then going back and looking, and Hill is a really good road course racer, very underrated in that department. I think he'll consistently be in the top 5, maybe even the top 3 all day. Custer, I think, is probably going to run somewhere around 10th like he's been doing all season so far, which has been just so weird to see when you expected so much from him. But, and again, plus 100. Why are you getting plus odds on Hill here? It makes no sense to me. And so that's why, again, just gonna hammer this one.
I think a lot of it is because they expected Cole Custer to be better, and I think this is one of those opportunities. And he did finish 3rd. I mean, he finished 3rd here last time out. So it obviously was Hill, and then it was Custer right afterwards. And I mean, you laid out every point, because that was going to be my next bet as well. So you laid out all the points that I was going to make, and it's just, this is momentum. This is a momentum thing. When a guy wins 3 races in 5, he's feeling it. Right? Cole Custer was supposed to come back and dominate, but look, there's sometimes a reason why you have to come back down. And maybe it's not necessarily all talent. A lot of times it's just performance. Maybe you got to get your head right. Maybe something was keeping you from being the type of driver that the team, the car, everybody, the ownership all thought you could be. So you got to figure that out, right? And that's something that maybe Cole Custer still hasn't figured out yet. And whatever the obstacle in his way right now is keeping him from doing well. And we've seen it on the track. I mean, we've seen it in no, like you just said, no top 10 finishes this season. And that says something for a guy we thought was going to come out and blister through this series.
Well, and I mean, talking about bed games, let's not forget his dad is high up at Stewart-Haas Racing, and he literally got fired from their Cup Series program, which, if you've watched it this season with Chase Briscoe running next to BJ McLeod all season, has not been great. And he wasn't even good enough to stay on that team. So they fired him and said, well, we'll keep you because your dad works here, but you're going back to the lower series because you can't cut it up here. Like, that could be seriously fucking with the guy. I mean, that's got to be a huge letdown. Like, you made it to the Cup Series. You're on a good, solid team. I mean, you're not scraping and clawing like Ross Chastain's, the Alex Bowman's had to do for so. Like, you walked right up into what's supposed to be, and maybe they're not so much anymore, but supposed to be a good, solid team in the Cup Series, and then you got fired from it, basically. And so that, I mean, I could see how that could mess with your head, and now you're in the Xfinity Series, and it's like, meh, you know? So maybe that's affected him so far this season, and maybe that's playing a role. I don't know.
Well, and it's like the baseball guys that get optioned down to AAA after they've spent some time in the big leagues, and some of them even get down to AA because they're just not necessarily something's missing. And it's not, like I said, it's not maybe because they're not talented enough. It's just something's missing, and they're not able to stay up there. And I've seen it working for a single A ball club, where a lot of times these guys that go up and play in the AAA get sent back down into single A ball. Their head's not in it. They're ready to go out to do whatever's next. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I just know something's
speculation. But it could very well, especially if we continue to see this be playing a huge factor. And let's take advantage of it at this point. I mean, and again, this is where we've been accused before of sticking with the same guys, and you'll hear that in some of the bets. And yeah, we bet on Parker Kilgerman again. Guess what? We cashed on him last week. So, and there's stats to back it up. A guy like Custer, I was huge on coming into the season. Now, multiple races I've faded him. We can switch that, flip that switch quickly and take advantage. And sometimes the books are slower to adjust because there's such high expectations, and you feel like this Austin Hill thing can't be real, right? Like, he's not going to win 2 races. He's not going to win 3 of the first 5. Well, okay, he won 3 of the first 5, but 2 are super speedways. So no way he's going to keep doing it. Right? And then he just keeps doing it. And eventually they have to adjust. So if you can beat him to adjusting, that's where you gain the biggest advantage.
I concur. All right. This next bet looks like we both have it on the card as well.
Yep. Have we ever done that before? Agreed on 2 bets?
No, never.
I mean, we agree a lot, but actually put 2 different ones on the card that we both like so much that they made it. I don't think we have.
No, we have not, in fact. So this is Ty Gibbs over William Byron. Both of us have this. This is at plus. I got it at plus 110. Cody said he found it at plus 100.
I'm plus 110 for me too. I probably typed that in wrong.
I was gonna say maybe the line shifted. See, this is why you got to get in now.
Yeah.
Right this second.
I don't think it moved that much already, but
yeah. Yeah, this one's at plus 110 for Gibbs over Byron. This is the books trying to take advantage of you by betting the Byron side of this, right? This is exactly what it is, because the Byron side of this is at minus money. Ty Gibbs is at plus 110. You're thinking to yourself, there's no way that Ty Gibbs can beat a Cup guy, but you got to realize that Ty Gibbs owned the Xfinity Series while he was down there. 11 road course starts, 3 wins, 6 top 10s. He can run these road courses. Now, I understand that Byron is in a Hendricks car on this track. I do get that, but he's also in a very loaded field as well. And I'll let Cody lay out Byron's road course stats, but the by and large of this is, I feel like this is you taking advantage of the books, trying to get everybody else to bet on William Byron, because again, Gibbs and the Xfinity Series with these road course races, when he was in that was all him. He was definitely a dominant road course racer in the Xfinity Series, and I don't want you to get taken advantage of by the books. But Cody, back it up, because I know you've got a ton of stats to back this up too.
Yeah, well, and I'm trying to find the line here too. I originally wrote down in this betting position, I wrote down William Byron over AJ Allmendinger because the price was just, gosh, where did I see that? The price.
So I saw Allmendinger at minus 165, Byron at plus 135.
Yeah, and so I'm like, that's so wrong. Like, he's a Cup Series driver, He's obviously had the best start to the season of anybody, really, right? He's been doing well. You think about last season, and he did have that race at Watkins Glen. It was Gibbs, it was Byron. They beat and they banged, and they beat and they banged, and then eventually took each other out. Kyle Larson ends up claiming their spoils. But so I went to make that case for myself, and I go back and look, and I'm like, I can't make this case. And so even though I felt like, and maybe that's trying to bait me into it, right? Because it was like, you're going to give me this all-star Hendrick guy again. And I get AJ Allmendinger's good, but, and I couldn't make the case. And so then I got to look at it, and I'm like, I can't even make the case for him over Gibbs, and you're getting Gibbs at the plus money. So don't take that bait. Take the Gibbs side of things. Again, Gibbs has been, you talked about it, right? He's been great on the road courses. You go back with Byron, and he did have the Watkins Glen run, right? It was in the 17 Hendrick car, and this is a Hendrick. This is not a Joe Gibbs or a JRM car. JRM's already got 5 cars in the field. This is Hendrick prepared. Hendrick owns this. It's completely separate from the JRM stable. So, and they've got their own part-time guys working on this and all that. And the car was good last season on road courses, but Byron did have that one good run. But then you look back at his Cup Series stats, and 12th at Coda, that's not bad. 9th at Sonoma, again, not bad. But both of those races, the favorites, and some people got wrecked at the end. And then we had the Larson Elliott thing. So not great finishes. 16th at Road America, 31st at Indy, 22nd at Watkins Glen, 16th at the Roval. Nothing really jumps off like, wow, he's a pretty good road course guy. Is he going to beat most of this Xfinity field? Yeah, he's a Cup Series guy. He's good. You expect him to have a good day. But with Ty Gibbs and the track record he's got, as much as we've seen him dominate on road courses, as good as he's been on them, I'm taking Gibbs in this all day. And again, plus money, it does seem right, I guess, because of Byron, and he is a Hendrick guy, and he's, one of the top Cup stars or whatever. But it doesn't make a ton of sense based on their track records here. So again, I wanted to talk myself into betting on William Byron for this, and statistics said, no, not so fast. And there's nothing to back it up. So I'm with you, Rod. We'll both co-sign 2 in a row, co-signed. We better get these right or it's going to look bad. But I think, again, if things play out the way that I think we both foresee it going, and things stay rather caution-free and stretch out, I think that the better drivers are just going to rise to the top, and Ty Gibbs is the better road course driver of the two of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I told you it's bait, man. Once I saw this, I thought, wow, this is going to be. And then I looked at it and I said, no, I think I like the Ty Gibbs.
Just to throw this out there too, you flip this around and you put this matchup in the Cup Series. These are both Cup Series guys, right? And I think my tune would change. I think that as much as Toyota struggled on the Cup Series side of things, and we talked about that yesterday on the Cup Series show, and as good as these Hendrick cars are, I don't think I would take the Gibbs side of things. But in the Xfinity Series, again, I already talked about John Hunter Nemechek, already talked about Sammy Smith. I'm on all 3 of these JGR cars at some way or form in this race. And I think it's just because they are that much better in the Xfinity Series than they are in the Cup Series. They're struggling to start this season in the Cup Series, but these Supras, again, it's a Supra in the Xfinity. It's a Camry in the Cup Series, the next gen. It's completely different, but they've got it figured out already in Xfinity. They're rolling hot. I mean, Ty Gibbs won the championship last season. He had 7 wins last season, 16 top 5s in the Xfinity Series. Like, this is still his series recently. He's the defending champion of it. He's not defending it because he's not running in that series, but you get what I'm saying. He won the last championship is what I'm going with. And so again, I'm not trying to say that he's necessarily, if you put this in the Cup Series side of things, I think it would be flipped. But in the Xfinity Series, I think Gibbs has the marked advantage. And again, at plus money, it just seems to make sense.
It really does. Like I said, we're here to try to get you to think outside of the box, and that's exactly what this bet is. And the fact that both of us found it, again, we don't talk about our bets before we put them down on the card because we don't want to taint each other's ideas. I mean, granted, we've had 138 episodes so far of.
We pretty much know what each other's thinking at this point.
We can look at the card and go, yeah, I know which side Cody's on. It's not that big of a.
You got to figure there's going to be a Hemrick bet for Rod. You got to figure there's going to be an Allmendinger bet. You got to figure there's going to be a Jimmy Johnson bet. And then you come to my side, and you're probably going to have, certain guys at certain tracks. Kevin Harvick's going to find his way in. Parker Kilgerman's going to find his way in. We've got our own guys, but hey, we got to do what works, right?
Yeah, we do. And again,
And
like
Xfinity, man, we had the big 22-1 in the Cup Series, so that obviously kind of overshadows a little. But the Xfinity card, specifically by you, I think, did you hit every Xfinity bet
I
except
missed
one, maybe? But yeah, I mean, you killed it last week, and I had a pretty good week as well. So maybe we're firing on all cylinders in Xfinity, and that's kind of our jam right now. Hopefully, that's what I'm putting, anyways.
And listen, if you want different names, then tell the books to put different names. Like put heat on your books to start offering other names, because
yeah,
it's just
give us a Connor Mosack versus Kaz Grawl or something in the back. I don't care.
Yeah,
we'll bet on it, but it's just not available. And we've done that before, right? We had, was it Corey LaJoy and Ty Dillon a couple of weeks ago? Like we bet on, like we'll make a case for those bets, but you don't get them a ton. It's a lot of, sometimes it is repetitive things, but there's still advantages you can get. And I mean, Byron Gibbs, that's not really a matchup you see in the Cup Series ever. And so to get him in the Xfinity Series, it is still changing things up a little bit.
Yes, indeed. Okay, let's step away for one more break. We come back, we'll actually tell you who we think is going to win this race of left and right turns. Well, let's tell you about Underdog Fantasy. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is heating up for March Madness, and College Pick'em is a great way to get in on the action, especially if your bracket was busted after day one. Whew, talking. I think, yeah, Cody said his was. I didn't have a bracket, so it didn't get busted. Plus, Underdog Fantasy has your favorite college basketball player props. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Hi, you see me waving. You're watching this on YouTube, or you've at least got the audio from YouTube on and you're going around your house doing whatever chores. Cody, I don't know what your YouTube consumption is like, but I know that half the time I'll put a video on and just listen to the audio and walk around. So people didn't see me wave.
Yeah, that's a majority of my YouTube viewing is, yeah, it's on and I'm listening, but I'm doing other things.
But for those of you who actually watch this like a television show, thank you.
If you sit here and watch us,
say again.
If you sit here and watch us for this whole show, props to you, because I'm sorry.
But we're appreciative of you consuming this on YouTube by and large. Anyways, we want you to continue to do so. We want you to tell your friends that we are now on YouTube as well. And subscribe and download. No, you don't download on YouTube. You subscribe, you like, you comment, you ring that little bell. All the things that the bosses are telling us to tell you to do to keep this YouTube channel afloat. Again, we're adding little things every time just to make it more enjoyable for you, the YouTube viewer. But for you OG listeners of the podcast, we will not sacrifice the quality for you. You are our driving force, and YouTube will be that just as much in the future. But once again, thank you. Continue to do so. And as I've said time and time again, just love us.
That's still one of my favorite lines from you. Just please love us.
Just please love us. That's my inner third grader just yearning to be accepted. So
yes, exactly.
All right.
All right. Some winners, Rod. I mean, we'll get to your pick in a minute, but you know, again, the Max Verstappen thing applies to your side of things. But if your guy doesn't win, I think there's actually a lot of, despite how loaded maybe this field is, still a lot of good value here. So I got Ty Gibbs at the top, plus 500. Again, I mean, with him and AJ Allmendinger, it's been 1A and 1B on road courses. Dinger's had the advantage, yes, but Gibbs has been so good on him. You go back to last season at Coda, he ended up 15th. He kind of got shuffled out at the end there. And again, another thing too is Gibbs would dominate early in a lot of races and then get shuffled back in these stupid flip stage shit and could never get back up there sometimes. Not going to have this time. It's just going to be he's able to go out there, run, do his thing without the built-in cautions. You know, he's going to not get cycled to the back that much or in the pack and get caught up in all this extracurricular. He's going to have the opportunity to go out there and just race for it. And he can go wheel to wheel with anybody on the road courses in a top tier car, which he has in the Xfinity Series. So plus 500, love Ty Gibbs. And then I didn't want to give out two long shot guys, but I'm scrolling through the board and I'm like, how can I not take both of these guys? Sammy Smith, I made the case already. He's got 2 starts in the Xfinity Series on road courses, in the top 5 with 5 laps to go on both of them. Again, a mechanical failure in one, finished, was it third at Watkins Glen in the other one. So, and again, Watkins Glen, we talked about that, was kind of a mess at the end too, but put himself in position to be there. He's been fast. He's been good. He dominated the ARCA Series last season as well, won the championship over there. He's already won an Xfinity Series race this season. I think he's going to continue to build on that momentum. He's going to have a fast car. He's going to be solid. Again, all 3 of these Gibbs cars I expect to be pretty good. I think John Hunter maybe to a lesser degree, but going to still be good. And then Parker Kilgerman, I can't pass him up at 30-1. Again, that big machine car, it's not just another car in the field. It is a good car. To the level of the Gibbs cars, no. To the level of the Hendrick car, probably not. I don't think the JRM drivers are necessarily as good on road courses. So I don't know that I think you could put Parker Kilgerman in that conversation more so than them even. But at 30-1, it's almost just disrespectful. We saw him win in that part-time 75 truck last season. Like, he can do it on these road courses. He should have won at Atlanta last weekend, where we had him at a similar, was he third? I think he was 30-1 then as well. So we didn't get it last week because Daniel Hemrick decided to be a dick. But we're going to get it back this week with Parker Kilgerman. And again, AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, they dominate this race. They're right with each other. They're battling it out. One of them gets loose, gets into the other one. Boom, opens up the gap. There goes Parker Kilgerman. There goes Sammy Smith. There is the opportunity for these guys. We saw it last season in the Cup Series race. We called out Ross Chastain 40-1. We hit him there. Did he dominate that race? No. Was he leading, even going to the last lap? No. But things worked out. He ended up moving somebody. He got moved first, moved somebody back. He wins 40-1. Even though there are guys that are, the top of the top for when it comes to road courses, things can happen. You have flat tires, you have incidents, you have mechanical failures. So you have to have these long shots as well. And Parker Kilgerman to me at 30-1, again, a guy I just cannot pass up on a style of track where he's very good in the road courses.
Yep. You might as well just, when you know something's, just pencil in Parker Kilgerman, that was coming.
And I mean, it's not, you're probably not going to take him at a just general oval. Like, we come up to Kansas in a couple of weeks or whatever. Yeah, probably not. But the super speedways where he's not getting respected in the numbers specifically, if Kilgerman was 15-1 even, probably going to scroll right past him. But at 30-1, what he can do, and he's specifically is good on super speedways. He's specifically good on road courses and can make up that slight difference in equipment on those types of tracks. It's just screams too much value to pass it up.
I concur. All right. Well, I'm going to just go chalk. And this is one that I just think at this point, you're going to have to do it. And that's AJ Allmendinger. Stop me if you've heard this one already. But he is at plus 250. This is not super speedway odds. This is not the sexiest of all odds. But if you're going to get a guy that's going to win a road course race, he's in that 10 car, that Kaulig car. But he's not in the 16 like he's used to being. He's in the 10 car, but I don't think it matters. He's got 23 road course starts in the Xfinity Series, 9 wins, 19 top 5s, 20 top 10s. Out of the 1,400 laps that he has run on road courses in the Xfinity Series, he has led 346 of them. He is an absolute monster when it comes to these. In the Austin, he won the last time they were out in 2022, held off Austin Hill for that as well.
Should have won the Cup race then. I mean, he was leading late, potentially. I mean, that's the guy that Ross Chastain moved. So
yep, that's the guy that I had the money on as well. And then in 2021, he finished second to Kyle Busch of all people. But he did lead 3 laps in that as well. And for AJ, he did lead at the end of stage 1. He was the winner there. And then he was at 8th place at the end of stage 2. So he managed to find his way all the way back up to 2nd place. And look, we talked about the fact that these stage things, they bunch things back up. When you're 8th place at the end of stage 2, and you have to find your way back up through the field to get to 2nd place, that's not easy sometimes when it gets strung out. So I still love AJ Allmendinger for this race. And that 10 car has done well for itself this season so far. Justin Haley rode it last week to a 10th place finish in Atlanta. The week before that, it was Landon Castle who had an 8th place finish in Oh, I'm sorry. That was at Atlanta again. Clicking the wrong buttons. But anyways, this 10 car has been up in the front over the last few races as well, in that all-star car that Cody was talking about. So, I don't even care if he's driving the like Mario Kart type car. AJ Allmendinger knows his way around road courses. This is a well-known fact. It's probably going to be a well thrown out bet over the course of this weekend, but it's going to cash, in my opinion. So why not make it?
Yeah, I mean, he's the all-time leadingest, or he's the all-time leadingest. Is that a word? He's the
Pick it up.
all-time leadingest driver winner in Xfinity Series history on road courses. Like, he's that good. He proves it every time he's out there. He's won multiple times in the Cup Series in subpar equipment. I mean, he won in a JTG car on a road course in the Cup Series multiple years ago. Like, they don't win. They're not competitive in races like that generally, but he's that good. I mean, he constantly proves he's really good at it. He's got the road racing background. You could go on and on about his accolades. It's just, and if this is your first week listening to the show, I promise we're not always this chalky, but this might actually, because I've already claimed Kyle Busch for tomorrow's Truck Series show. I don't know if you know that, Rod, but you do now. But this is probably the first time in the history of the show where we're going to have picked all three favorites in all three series. And it really goes into just this new no stage caution thing. And I think that is so much going to make the top of the top just rise. He's only plus 250 for a reason. Now, like we talk about on the F1 Gambling Podcast with Max Verstappen, where we'll sometimes bet him at minus 250 even, you have to have the backup plans because something could go wrong with AJ. He could have a problem. He could have a flat tire. Somebody gets into him, any number of things. And so that's why I think that, with my guys, you can still have the long shots in case. You can have Gibbs is going to clearly be the next best guy with Dinger and could outpace Dinger as well. But AJ is top of the line. Again, if you want to wait till after practice, if you want to wait till after qualifying, good luck, because if he is the fastest, it's plus 250 now. Does it go down to, I mean, how low can it go, Rod? But we could see it go down. I wouldn't be surprised. So I think this is going to be the most favorite heavy weekend we've seen in a while. And again, anything can happen. And that's why we've got these other bets in here. That's why there's other things. That's why, we give out the Moffitt top fives, the Allgaier top threes, because things can happen and other guys can find their way up there. But it's so hard to pick against the guys who are the clear cut favorites this week because they've just got such an advantage, especially with the no stage caution thing.
Yeah. I wouldn't suggest anybody go super heavy before qualifying either. Just make sure that that if you're going to push like a Dinger or a Gibbs now, it's probably good to lay just a little bit on it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, especially Gibbs, man, the Dinger one's going to be interesting because if he comes out and he's fastest, how much lower can they drop that without it being? I mean, if it's Kyle Busch, I talked about it yesterday on the trucks, plus 155, like, go get on that before we even record the Truck Series. Like, go get on that because that'll swing to minus 200 like it's nothing because it's Kyle Busch. So, like, with this one, maybe Dinger doesn't drop as much, but like Ty Gibbs, plus 500, if he's the fastest car in practice and qualifying, he'll be minus 250, minus 200 right away. Like, so you got to get on some of the stuff early. And again, like a guy like Allgaier qualifies well, that plus 600 is going to be gone. Sammy Smith comes out and surprises, sits on the pole. You're not getting him for a top five at plus 400 anymore. So you got to get some of these in, maybe save a little room in your budget for some after practice stuff in case there's a big surprise. But I think this series will probably be the least amount surprised out of anyone. I think we've kind of laid the case for the guys that we really could see. I don't see anyone else. Again, it would be a surprise for a reason, I guess. But I don't think that as much of the Cup Series, like, there's probably a good 15 guys you could see that could easily land on the pole or be fast, and you could be like, oh, okay, I maybe kind of expected, Ryan Blaney to be okay, but now he's the fastest. I mean, he won the pole there last season, right? And so I think it's going to be different in these series. But yeah, I think, again, not to be chalky with the win picks, but that's, if you've listened to this show for any period of time, I mean, obviously we've hit 40-1s on Ross Chastain, stuff like that before, but we're going to give it to you the way that we think it's going to go. And sometimes you just have to eat the chalk. And again, even on a super speedway last week, you called out Austin Hill. Yeah, it was only plus 450 on a super speedway, but guess what? Your money got multiplied 4.5 times. So a win is a win is a win is a win. So
it's why you lay the bet, right? You're not laying the bet just to lay the bet. And then look, entertaining bets. I heard it on another the Action Network show. And I really agree with their philosophy too. Sometimes you have to make the fun bet, and that's fine. If you make the fun bet, you just throw a little bit out there just to have a rooting interest. We say that's a good thing too, but also we're here to win you money, and we want to win you money. So hopefully you have fun regardless of how the bets go, even if you're betting on the same folks week after week after week after week. I mean, there are only 30 some odd drivers in the field. So.
Hey, we left out Riley Herbst this week. He'll be back on the card next week. Not man, I love betting on the guy, but if we could get top 10 odds, I'd take him for a top 10 all day, but
I know I wanted top 10 odds on Moffitt. That's what I really wanted, but
yeah. And why don't we probably kill him? Too bad. That's probably why, but why don't they give us top 10s in the trucks and Xfinity?
They're scared.
They should be scared because we'd fucking destroy them.
All right, let's wrap this up. Let's get your pen and paper out.
Top 12s. We could kill them with Daniel Hemrick every week.
Or double top 10 finishes or double 10. Yeah, we could. Top 12. Shut up. All right. So let's get the pen and paper out. We'll go over our bets while Cody continues to hammer Hemrick at 12th. Cody started you out with Sammy Smith as a top 5 car at plus 400. I said Justin Allgaier would finish inside the top 3 as he's done before at plus 600. Cody loaded you up on Kilgerman bets with a top 5 at plus 300. He said he's going to win Group B, which consists of Mayer, Barry, Sammy, Hemrick, and Gralla, and that is at plus 300. And then I told you Moffitt was going to be a top 5 car at 10-1. Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek over our favorite Canadian that's not Canadian, that's from California, Sheldon Creed at plus 100. I said Daniel 12th place Hemrick was going to finish better, at least one place, than Kaz. Where is he at on road course? Gralla at minus 125. We both agree on 2 bets. This is a NASCAR Gambling Podcast first, where we gave you Hill over Cole Custer at plus 100 and Gibbs over William Byron at plus 110. Both of us agree on that one. And then Cody gave you Ty Gibbs at plus 500, Sammy Smith at 28-1, and Kilgerman at 30-1 to win the race. And I said, go ahead and eat the chalk and love it. Hopefully it's strawberry flavored chalk at plus 250 to win the Pit Boss 250 Dakota in Austin, Texas. Cody, are you ready for some road racing?
I'm ready. I'm excited. It's fun. There's more road courses now, obviously, than there's been in the past. It shakes things up. We've talked about it last season, this season as well. Like, look at the tracks we've been to, right? You got the big super speedway in Daytona. Then you got the 2-mile Warren track at Auto Club. Then you go to the standard 1.5-mile intermediate. Then you go to the shorter flat track at Phoenix. Then you're back to a super speedway, but not a huge super speedway. It's the intermediate size one. Now you go left and right on road courses, like changing it up with the schedule. I like it. Something new, something different every week, gives us different angles. Go back if we had this show back when it was 1.5 miles every freaking week and the same 2-3 guys won every week, like the picks would have been real boring then. So at least we can change it up and have some different stuff now.
Then I would have been talking about Jimmy Johnson a whole lot.
Yeah, you go back for about a 10-year stretch, and that's the one guy you give out every week, and you cash every week too.
That's the way it is. That's the way it was. All right. If you haven't already, like we said, go back, listen to the Cup Series 1. Tomorrow we'll be back with some Truck Series. And then, of course, Friday we'll wrap it all up with DFS for the Cup Series as well. But, Cody, as we put a bow in the Xfinity episode, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you on social media?
Yep. Follow me on Twitter at Husker_Zeeb. Make sure you check out the show on YouTube. Rod put together an awesome intro. It plays the same recording we've had forever, but got the video to it now. It's pretty sweet. I really, really like it. Enjoyed that a lot. So thank you, Rod. And then get in the Discord too. I know we've had quite a few people jump in the Discord this week. Again, you can type in sg.pn/Discord for a quick shortcut to get there. Hit us up on Twitter, whatever, find us and find a way to get in there. Love to have you. Great conversation. Get it on early lines sometimes, head of the line movement and stuff. So definitely join us there, and we'll talk racing all week with you. Talk during the races as much as we can.
Gotta say, I love how this community has grown all of a sudden over the last few weeks. You guys are just been spectacular to get to know. Everybody that's new, welcome, and we've see you and we've talked to you, and we're enjoying it. Everybody that's been around, the OGs, love you just as much because you were the ones that laid the foundation for all the new folks to get in. So this has been so much fun. This has been growing so much faster over the last few weeks, and it's just been a blast. So follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez, link in the bio. It's everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's in between media. Keep you posted all week. Again, like Cody said, get in the Discord. We'll talk to you there. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. We'll talk some Truck Series bets. Hopefully they finally get some out. But until then, let's go racing and let it ride.